Hi, girls and girls. Thank you so much for clicking today's video where we're here with Coach Brooks on how to become an educator, a teacher. And it's so fun to actually interview her because I've known her since I was a teenager. So, what's up, Coach Brooks?
Hello, hello. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm well. I'm well.
Well, I'm so happy to have you. You know, I always know you by your first name, but I'm gonna respect the authority that you have as a teacher and a leader and call you Coach Brooks. You know what I'm saying? But thank you for just joining us and just taking the time to talk to my mentees about becoming a teacher and just your journey and experience, how you got there. We always love to start off with asking our guests, like, just your background, your story. Where did you go to high school and what led up to you like deciding to become a teacher?
Well, thanks for having me. First of all,
You're
like you said, we go way back
welcome.
those convention days at New Hope. So we go
Yes,
way back.
choir member, strong.
Yes. My name is Allison Brooks. I am 25 years old. I went to Jackson State University. I got my bachelor's in education. I ended up getting it through NK through six, but I was endorsed in English, so I ended up being able to go teach at a high school, which is secondary.
Nice.
After I got my bachelor's, I went straight into getting my master's at Belhaven in
Mm.
curriculum and instruction. Just because, like I said, my end goal is different than a lot of people. So I want to be able to see every element of the school. And once I finished my master's at Belhaven, I went straight back to Jackson State and I got
Nice.
my specialist in ed leadership because my ultimate goal is to be a superintendent. But I'm gonna keep that road, that path where I'm an assistant principal, a
Hmm.
principal, and then a superintendent. And so now I am currently obtaining my doctorate in ed leadership so I can finish this thing on now.
Yes. I
So that's
love
just a little bit
that.
about me. I work at regional high school.
Hmm.
I teach accelerated ninth grade and I teach ninth grade, which is English one. Um, I coach volleyball. I'm the head coach there. I'm the head coach for JV and varsity. I've actually been coaching for about 5 years because I started off just doing club and then I ended up going into school volleyball. But yeah,
Nice.
that's me.
I love that. Look, it deserves like, the Zoom round of applause and the exciting cheers because that is like so amazing. And like you said, we go all the way back, but just to just see your God directing, ordering your pathway to be in this field. And a lot of people don't realize like teaching is such a jewel because our students, they need someone to not only guide them educationally, but just be like that support system to help them see life through and through, and just to know you're that person that God has placed is so great because you've always been an optimistic person. Like ever since I've known you, you've always smiled, always been a great listener and very helpful. So to just see you go into a field where you get to do that every single day, I really love that for you. So like out of all of the career paths, like from sports to like communications, like what made you choose teaching?
I tell this story to my class every single year because I want them to know who their teacher really is. But
Yes.
I start school going to
Mm.
school for education. I was a journalism major when I got to Jackson State.
Okay, I remember that.
I wanted to, yes, I thought I wanted to be a sports broadcaster
Yes,
or
yep.
somebody on ESPN. I know you remember those days,
Yes, with
but
the interviews and
yes,
videos
with
you
the
supposed.
interviews and the
Yes.
videos, I thought that's what I wanted to do. But God
Mm.
saw different. I ended up changing my major the end of my sophomore year, because my freshman year I was very fortunate to get a job at Midtown Public Charter School for after
Mm.
school care. And when I got to that school, I was just amazed at the school system. And I'm like, people need good teachers. I've always
Mm.
loved children because I've
Yes.
always worked with the youth ministry. I teach praise dance.
Hmm.
I've been doing praise dance for forever.
Yes.
I would teach Bible study. Like I've always had a passion for the youth, but I never saw myself actually that being something that I woke up and did every day.
Yes.
So I changed my major because I fell in love with the kids at Midtown. I was like, I think I want to do this. I want to be able to be though that teacher that not just come and get a check, that teacher that they can come talk to. Because I tell the kids all the time that sometimes you're with me more than you're with your own parents. So
That's
I started
yes.
to see that, and I saw that, hey, these babies need somebody that care about them. So I ended up changing
Mm.
my major. I'm like, Lord, I haven't taken any courses for this, but hey, whatever you say.
Wow.
So I ended up changing my major to education. And luckily with journalism, I was able to get the English endorsement because I took so many English classes because of being journalism. And so it was an
Wow.
easy fix. I ended up actually being endorsed by maybe like in 3 secondary subjects by the time I graduated. But God showed me that it was time to be an educator when I worked in Midtown. And I was like, God, you sure they don't make no
Mm.
money? Like I journalism, I love sports. And so God made an avenue for me to be able to still be able to
Yeah,
have a passion for sports and still be able to teach students. And
that's
so
good.
that's how my path was chosen. I didn't choose education. Education chose
Chose
me.
you. Oh wow. Yes, I remember that because I think I recall in high school, like you used to interview the athletes and kind of help them set up their online profile so they can at least like have something on YouTube to show like I know how to talk to somebody, you know? So I think that's
Love,
just
love, love sports.
beautiful. Yes. I think it's so beautiful. And just to even know that you still look at it as a win because you get to have both worlds, I think that that's a blessing in itself too. And just seeing that it's just you being used by God as a light, as a pillar in our community to not only ensure that kids know their ABCs and how to do, you know, English papers and things like that, but truly have someone to care about their overall well-being is such a blessing. So like with that being said, how has your faith helped you in this industry?
It is so crazy when I when I think about this question. I just think about how they've taken religion and prayer and stuff out of school.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to find my own avenue so that I still
Mm.
could be able to use my faith because I know initially that is my assignment inside the
Yeah.
school.
That's good.
So when I was at Raymond, I didn't really, I wasn't participating, or I was still trying to figure it out. I was 21.
Yeah.
I was a first year teacher. I was straight out of college. I was just trying to figure this thing out.
Out,
But
yeah.
when I got to Jim Hill, I ended up, when I was in Raymond, I was just an 11th grade English teacher. That's it. I did
Mm.
no after school activities other than go to all the basketball games to support my students, but I did
Yes.
no other activities. When I got to Jim Hill, I was so blessed enough to connect with a youth pastor from New Horizon, and they end up doing something called Tigers for Christ. And I
Mm.
was so blessed enough to be able to start teaching Tigers for Christ, to even just be a part of it, just to meet an amazing group of people,
That's
got
good.
interact involved with Young Life, like
Hmm.
those different programs. And it was just an avenue for students. We started out with maybe like 10, 15. We ended up having the auditorium packed some days with just athletes
Wow.
and just different students coming to, activate their faith before school started. And so I
Wow.
honestly feel like that's how I realize it helps me stay on track, because it's some days where you wake
Mm.
up and you're like, man, God, this is hard. We see so
Yeah.
much, we deal with so much. And even a lot of people come in and be like, well, this job doesn't pay. But I am fortunate enough to know that when you're on assignment, God will provide everything that you
That
need.
part. Yes,
And so
ma'am.
my faith has helped me like be so grounded to whereas
Mm.
I can be a vessel for God, even in the school system where they've taken it out of it.
Yeah.
And when I got to Ridgeland, they had FCA, and we had
Hmm.
FCA when we were in school
Same.
too. But
I had that,
I
yeah.
didn't really get involved because again, I moved to a new school. I'm trying to figure stuff out. I was very fortunate enough this year to become the sponsor of FCA, and when I tell
Okay.
you, it has been a major blessing. We
Let me come
host.
speak. Let me come speak.
Come on. I'm literally looking for people. We hosted the first
Yes.
night of worship the other night. I just had this crazy idea where I was like,
Wow.
we only get to meet for 20 minutes on
Yeah,
Wednesdays.
it go fast.
Yes, the bell rings. The buses are late sometimes. I really want to be able to give these children what they need. So I went to my
Mm.
co-sponsor. I was like, hey, listen, I got this crazy idea about a night of worship. Let's do it. And he was like, let's do it.
Mm.
We put our heads together. We end up getting it. And for the first night of worship, we had about 40 students to show up on
Wow.
Friday. And they could have been anywhere else on a Friday night, but they chose to come worship with us. We had a guest pastor. We sung a song of worship. It was totally student led. I didn't say a word. I fixed them some
Mm,
goodies to eat afterwards, but I didn't say a word. And
mm,
just to see that come to in fruition, like I
yeah.
really I was so blessed by how the students, and I had students tell me afterwards, hey, I really enjoyed this. Win the next one, win the next one. So my
Mm,
faith has really helped me in this industry because for one, you have to be a strong individual to be a teacher
yes,
because
absolutely.
you deal with so much, you see so much, and you have to know how to, because when I come home, oh, before I go to work, I'm listening to worship music, I'm praying
Yes,
because the devil is busy. And we know
yes,
that. And so
yes,
especially I feel like he's after our youth. And
yes,
so when you work with youth, you have to be really empathetic. You have to be passionate. You can't just walk up there and say, well, I'm going to teach these kids content. That's not how that works.
yeah,
You
that's
have to be
good.
able to get to these kids and be able to teach the whole child. And I feel like with
Yeah,
my faith, that has helped me be able to teach the whole child because I
mm,
understand. I
yeah,
understand that sometimes they don't know. Sometimes they need help. Sometimes they just need love. So my
yes.
faith has helped me be able to do that and also be able to have a faith-based organization on campus.
Yes, that's so powerful. Like I got chill bumps because it's just like going back to our foundation because we were raised in that environment where there's no other choice but God. There's no other choice but
So
to
you're going to
put
church,
Christ
you're going to be in
first.
Bible study, you're
Yes.
going to be in convention, you're going to be at
Yes.
church on Sunday,
Yes.
you're going to be in Sunday
There
school.
was no no. There was no no. Like every summer we knew we were gonna see each other for at least the whole 2 months of summer, giving God thanks, glory, honor throughout that time, whether there was doing dance or Bible study or doing the convention choir. But Christ was a part of our culture. And like to just see how the enemy has gotten away with just causing people to get old or die and things to fall off. It's like God still has birth in us to be those pillars in whatever field or industry he has entrusted us to be in. And I just love the fact that it's like before I start the day, when I end the day, I'm gonna do it with God first because I gotta show these babies what light looks like. Genuine, pure light, like, and even just knowing that as a teacher, you can discern spirits to know, like, okay, well, maybe she's not paying attention because something happened at home today.
Something's going
How can
on.
I go to her in a very authentic way without putting her business out there, but just letting her
Mm-hmm.
know I see you, and if you need to stay after class to share, I'm here. That
Yes,
is
I had
what
a
we need.
student. I got to work Friday. My student was like, they bombarded me and I said, hey, y'all, I got kids. I was like, Coach Brooks, we need to go you to therapist. So like
Ah,
just being able to be that avenue for students
yeah.
has just been something that I've loved. And I don't
Mhm.
think I could do that without my faith.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. And like you said, it's your passion. And the Bible says that our gift makes room for us. So
Room
it's
for
not
us.
even about the money. Like even us, like we grew up in, middle class families. It was never like how much money we had in the bank. It's more so how much we could give, how much we could
Mm-hmm.
share. And God has always provided for
Blessed us
us.
for it.
Yes. And I just love that. So like with your experience and your upbringing and as you reflect on your life, like, I always love asking my guests this, but like, what is some advice that you would give to your younger self?
Ooh,
Yes, do a deep,
I
deep.
would. Yes. So I have this thing, and it's been like this for a long time, and I'm finally coming to peace with it now. But one of my favorite scriptures is "Be still and know that I am
I am
God."
God.
I have
Yes.
this thing where if I don't know what's next, I am in a
Mm.
whole panic. Like
Facts.
I don't know. Even with me changing my major at Jackson State, I didn't know what was next. I was like, okay, well, I want to be a teacher, so I would just tell my younger self to just be still.
Yeah.
I've admired quiet time for like these last few couple years. Quiet time has been
Mm.
my favorite time. I journal, I prayer journal. Just be still and be
Yes.
intentional. When you walk in the room, I already know that you're meant to be there.
That's
There's
good.
been spaces I've been in that I probably my resume didn't qualify me for, but
Talk
because of the
about it.
favor that I have,
Yes.
I've able to be in those spaces and walk in there like God called me to those spaces because he did.
That's
There's
good.
no way they took a chance on a 22-year-old girl that never coached school volleyball and said, "Hey, we're gonna make her a head coach." There's no way they
Mm.
took that
What they
chance.
used to say
And
in church, but God,
right.
but
And so I
God.
was very fortunate enough to go into a program that, that this we know how it is. That schools volleyball is not really dominant down here, so
Mm-mm.
they weren't winning any games. And my expectation, they didn't. Their expectations for me wasn't to, hey, you got to go win games. Like,
Mm.
just come make the girls better. We end up going to the playoffs. So
Wow.
with an unqualified, what I felt like was an unqualified coach, because I'm still trying to figure this
Girl.
thing out, and
Wow.
so I just would tell my younger self to just be still, be intentional,
That's
and just be
good.
ready at all times. Because I always be like, I'm not gonna apply for that job. I'm not gonna do this because I don't feel like I'm ready. But
Mm.
like you said, your gift will make room for
For
you. So
you.
even if you don't feel like you're ready, God would not put you in a position without what you need.
That's
So I would
good.
just always tell myself again, be still, be intentional, and be ready at all times.
I love that. No, that's powerful. I love that. I think that that's effective too, because whether you are in middle school or a senior in high school, that's that practice to be able to like be still, that practice to be able to know like when it's meant for you, God will bring it right to you. Like that is just good all around. And I love the fact that you even had a personal experience with becoming a volleyball coach where you realize, oh my gosh, like I was ready, but then I know how ready I was. But God, you showed me if I trust you, this is how it'll go. And I think that that's a powerful thing because, yes, in our state, our home state is not that popular, but at least you are challenging the system to invest in sports that can help these girls get scholarships in other, states and other avenues, And I
Yes,
love
and it's so
that.
crazy because I really started off at a charter school and I started teaching math. And my first month, I was
Mm,
like, I'm not a math teacher. I teach
yeah,
English. They was like,
English.
well, we only have math. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna try. And so I tried it, and the thing that made me a good teacher, and I will also give this advice to anybody that want to be a good teacher, be a student first.
That's
When I
good.
go home, I work on my lessons. I do my lessons. And I learned this, I tell you, but I learned this from the charter school because you have to sit there and work through your lesson plan. Is you working through like a student,
Right,
coming up with possible misconceptions that they may have, and
right.
just being able to answer any questions that you think may come up in your lesson. And
Yes.
so that helped me a lot. And because I'm like, math is not my strong suit. Like, I love
Mm.
math up until I got to college algebra.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
math,
facts.
I felt like math wasn't my strong suit. I ended up teaching math, and I was teacher of the month within my first month teaching. This is straight out of college, teacher of the month, teacher of the network.
Wow.
And I felt like, and I kept telling myself, I'm not ready. This is not for me.
Mm.
But again, God will make room. Your gifts will make room for
Mm.
you. And I feel like
That's
God made room
good.
for me with that, because even in that aspect, I felt like that math wasn't for me. God said, I called you to be an educator. No matter what
Yes.
you're
What
teaching,
kind?
I called you
Yes.
to be an educator for
That's
you to educate
good.
those students.
That's
So
good.
that's one of the things that, I always look back on, like, stop saying you can't. I mean, it's a rule in the
Mm.
gym when we have volleyball practice. If you say can't, you're running, because that is a word that will never be in
Mm.
our vocabulary. And that's something I have to preach to myself, because I'd be like, I can't do this. I
Wow.
can't teach no math. I can't do this. I can't do that. Even when I was at Jim Hill, I started off teaching 11th grade. They moved me to state testing in the middle of the school year. I'm like, God, I got a few
Girl.
months to prepare these kids for state tests. I've never taught state testing before, but
Wow.
easy breezy, because like I said, I was a student first. And
That's
so
good.
I just advise you to just be who God has called you to be all the time. Don't
Yeah.
stress about it. Be still, be intentional, and just be ready, because you never
Yeah.
know what God has for you.
Oh, I hear an ebook coming for you, girl, because that's a strategy in itself. And that applies to every area of life, even like in fashion design. If you don't have a heart posture to learn or even learn something new, baby, being prideful will keep you stuck, okay? Stuck and going nowhere. So it's
Mhm.
very good to stay open-minded and exploring other things or even just challenging yourself and believing that you can do all things through Christ who gives you
Yes,
strength.
yes,
That's
yes.
good. So with that being said, can you walk us through the process of either like obviously how to become a teacher and then like are those same steps applied when wanting to enter into like principalship and superintendent?
Okay, of course. So, like I said, It's easier to be an education major, even though
Hmm.
some people, like I said, they don't start off as education majors or
Okay.
they may not end as education majors. Some people may go to school for business, but with our schools broadening their horizons, like there are a lot
Mm.
of different classes that, hey, if you're you were a journalism major, you can go teach a journalism class and you can get a license through, you can take your test and get the license.
Mm.
So you, when you get to college, you want to major in education. You can either do K through 6, which is elementary ed, or you can
Okay.
do secondary. When you do secondary, you do the actual content area. So, say for
Okay.
instance, I want to be a history teacher, my major needs to be history. If I want to be an
Mm.
English teacher, my major needs to be history. That's to get those endorsements, or you can take those tests and you
Hmm.
can get those endorsements. I was
Okay.
very fortunate enough.
Hmm.
Um, if you have a 21 or higher on the ACT, you do not have to take Praxis 1.
Mm.
So
Okay.
I was
Okay.
very fortunate enough to not have to take the Praxis once I graduated. I didn't have to take
Nice.
Praxis 1. And because, we came through, we graduated when COVID happened. So
Yes.
I
Oh my
didn't have to
God.
take Praxis 2.
Wow.
So I ended up just being able to get my license through all of my college credits that I had.
Nice. Nice.
But now you have to take, like I said, if you don't have a 21 or higher on AC, you have to take that Praxis 1 and then you have
One.
to take that Praxis 2 in order to become a teacher.
Okay.
And once you do that, you have your license. The license are 5-year licenses, unless you are under an emergency license,
Mm.
which the school district can give you if you wanted to be a teacher and you wanted to be a teacher while you're still trying to take your test. They
Hmm.
sometimes school district will give you an emergency license. But the best way to
Okay.
do it is to go ahead and major in education,
Hmm.
take those tests, and get your license. And like I said, once I started teaching, I went straight into Belhaven. And like
Hmm.
I told you, before I become a superintendent or principal, I want to see every element of the school so that I can
Yes.
understand everybody of the school.
Yes.
So I ended up going to get my master's in curriculum and instruction so I can know the ins and outs of curriculum, so I can know how lesson plans is supposed to look, so I can know how to analyze curriculum, so I can know what curriculum better suits what type of children. So
Hmm.
that I went into curriculum and instruction so that I can better be able, it made me a better teacher, but it
Yes.
also makes me be a better principal so I can know what to look for when my teachers come in and know, and I know what they need to teach.
That's
So
good.
I went to Belhaven and got my master's in that. Of course, you don't have to go get your master's. Several other things. Even if you choose, if you did not go to school to be for education, you can go get your
Hmm.
master's of arts in teaching. I know
Wow.
some of the people that had major, like maybe like business administration, or then
Hmm.
they figured out that they wanted to be teachers, so they ended up
Teachers.
going to get their masters of arts in teaching, which allowed them to still go be teachers. And
Mm.
then, like I said, after that, I got my specialist in ed leadership. So now all I have to do is take my test. I can actually
Hmm.
be a principal right now if I wanted to. Once I pass
Okay.
my test, I don't have to get my doctorate. But
Okay.
since my program,
Hmm.
choose Jackson State, because if you go to Jackson
Yes.
State, the
Diala.
program, your specialist hours go into your doctorate hours. So with that being
Mm.
said, once I finished my specialist, I only had 33 more hours left to go for my doctoral program. So now, like I said, once I take my test and pass my test, I'll be able to be a principal and then, of course, a superintendent if I plan to do that. But
Mm.
again, I'm getting my doctorate. So, it'll be the same thing because it's ed leadership, but those
Mhm.
are the actual steps that you need to take if you want to be a teacher
Teacher.
or a principal or superintendent. You have
So
to go.
with if you want to do like the professor route, is that similar to like
So if you want to be a professor at a college level, you just have to have your master's. Um,
okay.
yes, you cannot have your bachelor's and teach a college course, but once you
Hmm.
get your master's, you are able to go teach a college course. So I
Nice.
actually thought about doing that, like teaching the
Yes.
adjunct class, like teaching the online class while I'm still teaching students in high school, just because
Yeah.
it's something different. And if it's online, it's easy to
Hmm.
manage. You don't have to go into a classroom. But yes, that's something I could do because I
Hmm.
have my master's.
Masters. That's good. So like what would you say for girls that are listening for like just the last question? They're in high school and they want to be a teacher. Should they like start working at a school, like maybe like volunteer at a school or volunteer for summer camps? Like how can they start kind of like preparing themselves mentally to become a teacher?
Yes, I would suggest working with youth so you can
Okay.
see if this is really what you want to do. Like I said, that's how I realized that this is what I wanted to do because
Right.
I started working at an after school program. But when you're in the education program, you're going to have field field observations. So you're going to have to go out to schools during your course in your program and shadow teachers. And like now with me trying to be a principal, I had to shadow principals and those type of
Mm.
things. So when you're in your course at whatever school that you go to, they're
Hmm.
going to make sure that you have that experience where you're going inside the classroom. My last year, Jackson State, you have to do field observations as you have to do student teaching. So you have to
Okay.
go and be in the classroom like you're an actual teacher. You have to record
Wow.
yourself teaching lessons. So it really prepares you and helps you see if that's what you want to do. But I definitely recommend go into summer camps, volunteer, go shadow a teacher that you know, and just see, hey, if I really let me see if I really want to do this, especially on that level. Because again, I was an elementary ed major, but I went straight into high school because I wanted to teach high school students. So just
Yeah,
go into the level that you want to see. Find a teacher. I'm open to it. If you need to, if you want to shadow me, even if you just want to be a coach and figure out
that's
that type of thing, if
good.
you want to shadow me as a teacher, as a coach, I'm very open to allowing you to come and see what it's like and just see the experience. We have off blocks where we plan just
Hmm.
different things so that you can understand, what it looks like to be a teacher.
Oh, I love that. Well, for closing remarks, is there like one quote that you kind of like tell yourself every day as a teacher to just keep you motivated?
I have a lot of quotes. Like I said, I
Hmm.
write in my journal a lot,
Yes.
and I kind of like I read different plans. We read plans together sometimes,
Yes,
but
literally, literally. Yes.
I just really just like I said, tell myself those three things every day is to be still, be intentional, and be ready at all times because you just
Mhm.
never know what a student is going to need from you.
Yeah.
I have to make sure that I'm mentally, emotionally
Yeah.
prepared to go into a classroom because, like I said, if I'm not good, my students know that,
Yeah.
and then they're not good. I missed a couple of days because I wasn't feeling good. I had a student email me, "I'm kind of concerned. Are you
Oh,
okay?" And I'm like,
I love
but
that.
students feel. And so just being
Mm.
able to, even when I'm not having a good day, I still trying to make sure that I show them the best Coach Brooks that they can get because I
Yeah.
don't know what they have at home. So just being
Yeah.
able to love on them their that 8 hours that they're there, that is my goal every day to wake up and be who I need to be for them every single day.
I love that. Yes. So to be a special teacher, you just have to show up. Show up. Well, girls and grades, if you enjoyed this video, please share it. Give us some positivity in the comment section. If you would like to shadow Coach Brooks, email me directly and we'll connect you with her, even to have a one-on-one call just for some inspiration and motivation. But thank you so much, Coach Brooks, for your time and expertise. And I pray that God continues to lead and guide you as you increase the kingdom through education, girl.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. And I hope what I said today can help somebody become an educator because we need y'all. We need some good
Absolutely.
educators.
Yes, we some good educators. Well, thank you so much, and I hope to see you all on the next video. Bye.